Well, it's such a good fit for both sides when we learned that James Mccann had signed a 4-year deal to become a New York Met. The last time we visited with James a month and a half ago, he was an unsigned free agent, and he was sitting in his car. He's much more comfortable at home today and much more comfortable knowing where he's going to play for the next 4 years. James, congrats on the deal. It's good to see you again.
Thank you very much. Good to see y'all. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. There's a lot to talk about here with the Mets, and we'll get to that in a moment. But my first question for you is this. Did Giolito call you at one point and offer you anything personally to stay with the White Sox? He must have been devastated that you're packing up and leaving.
He did not offer me anything himself, but he did check in about once a week. And I'm pretty sure every text message conversation ended with "Come home, baby." But other than that, no.
Hey, James, I want to ask you about having a personal relationship with being a personal catcher with a pitcher like that. I remember when I played in Seattle and Scott Bradley caught Randy Johnson, it seemed like all the time, and Mark Langston. Those were like his two guys, and he knew. And I'd see them watching games together, game planning as they went ahead. Take us into the mindset of being that personal catcher with a guy. How does that work? And do you have those private meetings and dissecting guys days before the game?
Yeah, I think when you have that personal relationship with somebody, you just kind of create you have a special bond, but you kind of create a routine that happens. And Lucas and I definitely had a routine. He knew that the night before every start, I'd send him over my personal scouting report, so he knew exactly what was going, through my head, and he would prepare against what he would think the future lineup or the lineup for the next night, and just study those notes. So really, when we went into the game the next day, we didn't have to really even meet, the day of the game, because he knew exactly where I was coming from, and I knew that we'd be on the same page.
I'm thinking, James, about your database in your head and your familiarity with the various pitchers that you've worked with. And when you left the Tigers and joined the White Sox, there were a few guys on that staff who you had at least faced before. Here you come into a new league, a new part of the country, and I'm curious how you get to know your new pitchers. Does it start with off-season conversations, or is that something that begins when you report to camp early, hopefully in about 6 weeks?
Yeah, no, it's really already started. I've reached out to multiple guys, especially now that we're through the holiday season. I'll be in touch with them more. That way, when we do show up to spring training, it's like we've already handled the nice to meet you, and we're ready to get to work. So that's one thing I'm definitely excited about is building new relationships and getting to know those new guys.
Well, I know you got to be looking forward to catching Jacob deGrom. You think about the stuff on this team, Syndergaard with his fastball and explosiveness. Who is the best stuff that you've caught? And on the Mets staff, who do you look forward to catching the most?
The best stuff that I've caught, that's a tough one. The first three guys I caught when I got called up with Detroit were 3 Cy Young Award winners in Price, Verlander, and Scherzer. So it's really hard for me to choose one particular guy. As far as having a closeness of a relationship, Lucas Giolito's been the guy that I've had the best relationship with. But as far as the Mets staff, I'm excited about a lot of guys. Obviously deGrom. I'm excited just to see his thought process and things, the way that he goes through his day and goes about his business. But a guy like Stroman excites me. You see the way that he changes his delivery, the way that he alters his pitches. I'm excited to kind of pick his brain and learn from him a little bit. And then obviously, you've got the younger guys on the staff and getting to know them a little bit. But Stroman intrigues me with the way that, just his athleticism and his knowledge for the game.
Yeah, we always talk about the hitters caught off guard when a guy quick pitches or shimmy, hangs and delivers. What about the catcher? Does that give you pause at all?
It's tough. I'll be honest. I'm not a huge fan of it. The quick pitching. If you want to change your your leg lift or shimmy. I think that's fine. But quick pitch, I'm not a huge fan of, but it's part of the game. And as a catcher, you just know the guys that could potentially do that. And I've yet to catch a guy that I give a sign to quick pitch to. It's more just their feel. So that's something I'm interested to know about with Stroman too. Is he just do his thing and I'm ready for anything, or is it something that we kind of get on the same page and know when he's going to quick pitch or know when he's going to change his timing?
Hey, baseball aside, James, let's talk a little bit about New York City, and in a non-COVID environment, because no city is the same now as it was a year ago. What were your impressions of traveling to New York as a visiting player? Did you have a favorite lunch spot, a favorite post-game dinner place? Talk about New York City.
Well, I love going to the city. I've actually, the only time I've ever played at Citi Field was in the Futures game in 2013. I have not played there as a big leaguer yet, so the only time I've been to New York is to go to Yankee Stadium. And I'll be honest, as far as eating out, the clubhouse that the Yankees are visiting clubhouse, their chef is so good. Very few guys go out after a game to eat. So really, my biggest memory of going to New York is we had an off day. I want to say it was back in 2016, and I was able to do all the tourism type things, and that was pretty neat because that's something I had never had an opportunity to do.
You're not going to get to do that now.
Hey, James, we appreciate the visit, man. Congrats again on the deal with the Mets. It's such a good fit on both sides, and onward and upward, man. We'll check in with you during the season. Enjoy the rest of your off season, and we'll talk to you at spring training.
All right, sounds good. Y'all take care.